This wasn't just science, it was something far more dangerous. Behind the Iron Curtain, deep inside secret Soviet laboratories, experiments were taking place that blurred the line between progress and madness. Men in white coats worked under flickering lights, surrounded by cables, wires, and humming machines. The air was thick with smoke and secrecy. They told themselves they were serving humanity, but they were really serving power. Under Stalin's watchful eye, science became a weapon, and human life became a disposable tool. What began as research soon turned into obsession. The dream of building a better future twisted into something unrecognizable. This is the untold story of when science became horror. After the devastation of World War II, the Soviet Union was rebuilding, but also racing. It wasn't just a race for weapons or space exploration. It was a race for total control, over nature, over death, and even over the human mind. The government viewed science not as discovery, but as domination. Every experiment, every project, every discovery had one goal: power. Scientists were celebrated as heroes when they succeeded, and quietly erased when they failed. There was no room for hesitation, no space for conscience. They were told to explore every possibility, no matter how dark. Officially, the projects carried noble names: research into life extension, human potential, and psychological endurance. But unofficially, they were about something else entirely: breaking the limits of life, of death, and of morality itself. One of the most infamous figures of this era was Sergei Brukhonenko. In the 1930s, he developed a strange and haunting machine, the autojector, a crude heart-lung device. Its purpose? To bring the dead back to life. In one demonstration that would shock the world, Brukhonenko presented a severed dog's head connected to his machine. The tubes pulsed, the pumps hissed, and the impossible happened. The dog's eyes blinked, its ears twitched. When the scientist shined a light, the pupils reacted. When he tapped a surface, the head turned toward the sound. The audience was horrified. But to the Soviet state, this was triumph, proof that even death could be controlled. What they didn't show were the failures, the dozens of animals that suffered, the grotesque trials that led to nothing. Brukhonenko's work did pave the way for modern life support systems. But it also set a dark precedent. It showed that in the Soviet Union there was no experiment too extreme, no line too sacred to cross. While some scientists tried to control the body, others sought power over the mind. During the Cold War, paranoia drove both sides, East and West, to explore psychological warfare. In the USSR, this obsession took shape as psychotronic and telepathic research. They wanted soldiers who could see without eyes, hear without ears, and kill without weapons. Some projects claimed they could send thoughts over long distances or manipulate human emotions using frequencies and suggestion. One such effort, known as Project Olympia, aimed to find psychically gifted individuals, people who could read minds, move objects, or see through walls. It sounds like science fiction. But for the Soviet leadership, it was deadly serious. Subjects were hypnotized, isolated, and dosed with experimental drugs. Sleep deprivation, sensory manipulation, even electric stimulation were used, all in the name of creating the perfect human weapon. We'll never know how much of it actually worked. But what we do know is chilling. People were broken, some went mad, and many never left those laboratories alive. By the 1970s, the Soviet Union turned its ambitions toward biology, toward something even more uncontrollable: disease. A vast network of secret research centers called Biopreparat emerged. On the surface, it was medical science. In reality, it was one of the largest biological weapons programs ever conceived. Hidden behind barbed wire, scientists worked with smallpox, anthrax, and engineered viruses. They experimented with hybrid strains that could resist vaccines, or spread faster than nature ever intended. Many of the scientists didn't even know what they were truly creating. Others did, and feared the consequences. There were accidents, leaks, outbreaks, but everything was silenced, buried beneath the phrase, state security. Even today, much of Biopreparat's data remains locked away or destroyed. But fragments that survived paint a terrifying picture. A system that believed control over death was the ultimate form of power, and yet behind every experiment there was something deeper, something human. Fear. In Stalin's world, to question was treason. To hesitate was weakness. Scientists who refused to participate disappeared. Those who obeyed were haunted by what they had done. They were told they were building the future, but in truth they were feeding the machine of power. Behind every discovery lay a trail of suffering. Animals, prisoners, soldiers, and innocent citizens. Names erased, records burned. Only whispers and fragments remain. Science gives humanity the power to transform the world. But history reminds us that power without ethics leads only to destruction. The Soviet experiments were not an isolated nightmare. Every great civilization has, at some point, sacrificed morality in the name of progress. Ancient empires, modern superpowers, different flags, same mistakes. The lesson is eternal. When science forgets compassion, when discovery is used to dominate rather than to heal, it ceases to be science and becomes horror. If this gave you a new way to see history, subscribe and join me because the past isn't gone, it's just waiting to be understood.